everybody, or good morning when you should be watching this. I hope that you're all okay. I apologise, my webcam and microphone aren't working, so I can't do this as a screencast. So I'm holding my phone with my left hand while I'm trying to control with the right hand the mouse and the PowerPoint. So your new unit is called Interrelationships within the aviation industry. It's Unit 4, so we're all done with conflict now. What Unit 4 is all about is about how all of the different organisations that you've studied before, and you have studied quite a lot already this year, especially in Unit 1, how they all work together. Okay? So hence interrelationships. So the whole idea of the assignment is that you've already looked at all of the different organisations and you've talked about what the organisations do. When I'm talking about organisations, we put them into types, or for this assignment we're going to call them levels. You'll just know them as organisations, but actually you've done quite a lot of them. If you look at this, you'll see the 5 shapes around the outside. You've actually studied all 5 of these areas in Unit 1. In Assignment 1, you studied the aviation overall. In Assignment 2, you studied airlines within aviation and the different types of airline. In Assignment 3, you studied airports and all of the different airports that there are, and you wrote about a regional, you wrote about a hub, and you wrote about a smaller airport, Teesside, most of you wrote about. And then in Assignment 4, you wrote about general aviation and all the different organisations that are involved in general aviation. And in Assignment 5, you wrote about regulatory and trade bodies, and you prepared a poster on all of the different ancillary organisations. So you've already studied all of these organisations. You've got loads and loads of notes on them from Unit 1. What the purpose of this unit and the first assignment is to actually show how all of these different types or level of organisations work together. So for example, you're going to be able to talk about how general aviation organisations work with regulatory and trade bodies. And again, you've already done some of that. For example, you talked about that in your PowerPoint assignment. Right at the end, you talked about the trade bodies involved in general aviation. You'll also talk about how ancillaries work with general aviation. So you'll give examples, perhaps, of the fueling that's involved within general aviation, the onward services, the different taxis, the travel agents. General aviation uses them just the same as commercial aviation. You'll talk about airlines and how airlines are thoroughly linked with airports, with ancillaries, with regulatory trade bodies, and with general aviation. So this unit is about bringing together what you've already learned so far, predominantly what you learned in Unit 1, but other things that you'll have learned throughout other units. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pause this little video for now, and I want you to spend 10 minutes just creating a mind map of interrelationships. So I want you to grab a blank piece of paper. I want you to write those 5 different headings: reg and trade bodies, general, airlines, airports and ancillary. And all I want you to do is have a think. If you can do it off the top of your head, great. If you need to look back at your old notes, that's fine. Have a think and name for me some organisations and some examples under each of those 5 headings. When you've done that, I want you to take a photograph of your work, dead quick, just honestly 10 minutes. Take a photograph of the work and I want you to upload it to the discussion. Okay? Pause the video here and go ahead and do that now if you would. Okay, so hopefully you've all uploaded a photograph that I can have a look at, naming all of the different organisations under each of those 5 headings. So what I want you to do now is I want you to be able to add to the work that you've just done and sent the photograph of, but this time you're actually going to go away and study this for yourself. I want you to come up with a very brief paragraph long description of each of those 5 areas. Again, it's nothing that you haven't done before, but what you'll find is you've got that work in various different places from your Unit 1 studies. So I'd like you to create a summary sheet with the 5 headings: airports, airlines, general aviation, ancillary organisation and regulatory bodies. Just a simple Word document with those 5 headings, and under each of those headings I just want you to write me a very short paragraph summarising what they are, and you can copy and paste it from your other notes or you can sit and handwrite it. That's entirely up to you. Okay, so a paragraph under each one saying what they are, and then I want you to bring in the examples that you've just done for me a few minutes ago. So tell me what airports are, give me some examples of airports, and so on for each of those 5 headings. So a little recap then. Airports really do need airlines, and airlines need airports. They cannot exist without each other, okay? The demand for aircraft goes hand in hand with the demand for airlines and vice versa. They have very, very complex relationships. They have what we call mutual relationships. They are there for the benefit of each other, but those relationships are very much sealed legally. So they have in-depth legal documents drawn up by their legal teams showing their commitment to each other. And if an airport, for example, gives an airline a particular landing slot on a day and a time, that becomes a legal document and a legal agreement that the airport cannot go back on, and there will be a contract for which that runs. And that's the same for charges, duties, the amount that they pay air traffic control, the amount they pay in environmental charges. The airports can't just change the goalposts. Once an agreement is in place with an airline, both the airline and the airport have to stick to that agreement. That is a legally binding agreement, and it's for their mutual benefit, and it's for them both to make money, so it's also for a commercial benefit. So quite often these agreements, these interrelationships, are for mutual benefit. They're also for commercial benefit. Remember, that means to make profit, and they are legally binding agreements. Okay,